I know what my audience like. I did some independent films with Master P, and a lot of those movies did really well.
I'm ambitious, I'm a hustler. I have my own lane.
That's the thing about comedy. You wake up every day, you don't know if you're funny that day.
Hey! Sound effects, thumbs up if you can hear the sound effects and the music. Good to see y'all. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. All right, for the first timers, welcome to Let's Go Live with Lamar King. I'm Lamar King. We are now live, so let's go. Let's go. Something like a podcast, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Pardon me. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. East Coast time. Lord willing. Shout out to everybody watching on the West Coast and worldwide. I see you. No individual shout outs. We're broadcasting live from the newly remodeled Drunken Fruit studios inside the Tiny Closet Command Center.
I don't care if it is a closet. You still looking mad official.
Check them out over there at drunkenfruit.com. Spell it right. You never know what could happen. Beautiful things could happen. Also visit our sponsor at paranelia.com. 2A enthusiasts. Our new releases. We got new drops on there. There's a lot of different type of items. Catchy, quirky little items. Some stuff for Greeks. Some stuff for 2A enthusiasts. Check it out anyway. I'm biased. I'm particular with the hat. I like the hat. 2A. That's what time it is. It's 2A. See it? I like it. I like the jacket too. But I don't know what you be into wearing. So I'm not gonna push this real comfortable spring-like jacket. I'm not even gonna push that. I'm not gonna promote that because I don't know what you be into. But the hat though. I like the hat. It's called a camper. I like the hat. So there's that. Say what's up to our executive producer, Mr. Clarkson, down the hall in Studio G, and our New York bureau chief on assignment, John Watson from All Fun and Games, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's get to it. Right now, Haynes is making a meth margarita. Thank you. Thank you for that. A meth. He's had a rough day. He says the judges were looking for meth margarita. It's what they were looking for. All right. 7. Let me put the number up real quick. Hit the thumbs, notification, all that good stuff. You already know. We'll talk about the money wheel a little bit later. Phone lines are open, and to jump on the show, I know it's an emotional day. Let's Go Live 1-765. Let's Go Live 1-765-538-7461. If you want to jump in and join in the conversation, or if you want to, show your face and join the show, the link to join is in the chat. All right, so let's get to it. I mean, we ain't gonna be all sad, serious, but I do want to, address this. We haven't addressed it yet, so I've been waiting for a day such as this so we can address it. Because one thing about me, if you haven't learned already, I don't do the trauma porn. I don't dwell on all that. I was reading some words today. That superlative, superfluous, all that extra nonsense. I don't dwell on all of that because we preach to the choir. So I don't. But today is different. So all right, without further ado, let me bring in a fan favorite for our Against the Law segment, in which we put everything that you think you know up against the law. Please welcome Ikie Speaks, ladies and gentlemen. Good to
What's
see you.
good, family?
Good.
I'm coming through okay?
Yeah.
Man, close. Like, what's going on? All right, whatever.
Yeah, it's all good.
Still in recovery, so
We shooting from the hip today. Now I know
yeah.
I hit you last minute, and I don't expect super data and details. I just want to know just your thoughts as a an industry professional, as a counselor,
Yeah.
on the outcome of the trial and what type of job Keith Ellison was able to do.
So I don't. This is it's difficult for me because first of all, it's not over.
Mm.
Let's go there. And while I am pleased that there was a guilty verdict, I am not resting, or I'm not content, or do I think that this somehow implicates policing in America? It doesn't. Right? And so it sort of feels like a Pyrrhic victory in a sense, right? So it's because we've gotten some individual justice, but it's not going to be global. I mean, the same day we had a 15-year-old or 16-year-old girl be killed by the police because she had a knife in her hand. And so I'm torn in that regard. I also am aware that it doesn't seem to be, there's a mandatory minimum sentence in Minnesota. And so everything that he's facing is up to. And so it's up to the judge now, because he's elected not to have the jury decide his sentencing factors. And I don't know what the sentence is going to be. I know he's facing up to, right? But so some of the things we have to consider is whether or not his sentence is going to be concurrent as opposed to consecutive, right? And so there are 3 separate charges. They each have a different sentencing guideline, right? So the first one, the manslaughter, it's up to 10 years, but the recommended sentence is 4. On the 3rd degree is up to, I believe, it might be 20, and the recommended sentence is 12 and a half. On the top count, it's up to 40 years. But again, the recommended sentence for a first-time offender who doesn't have a record with this history of public service, he might land somewhere around 12 and a half, like Muhammad Noor. I doubt they would give him less than that, but it's possible he could get 10, like Amber Geiger, right? He's not getting football numbers. He may not get football numbers. So I'm still at the wait and see approach.
Yeah.
I haven't been pacified by a jury verdict, especially when we've got a sentencing that's 8 weeks away. What else is going on?
Yeah. And I saw somebody in the chat said I'll be eating crow today. I absolutely will not. Like you said, first thing you said is far from over. This is not a vindication or indictment of the system by no stretch.
At all.
By no stretch.
At all.
There's still some things that me, as my conspiracy theory side, like that don't add up.
Right.
Like you had, I'll take it this way, and I know a lot of you probably watching right now is like, oh, we did a small victory. Sure. He had 11 counselors, 11 attorneys.
Yeah.
And the worst one is the one that tried the case. That didn't even look right. And I didn't even watch the trial. I saw clips on Twitter that the worst one defending him. It didn't even look official.
It didn't. That was my problem, because I felt all along that he was being railroaded. I know that's difficult for people to accept, but what you have to understand that as a criminal defense attorney, the people that sit next to me, they routinely get railroaded. And I'm opposed to that. Right. And so the system has to be fair. And if they could railroad a white cop, you don't got a shot. You don't have a shot. It's sit next to me if you look like me.
I feel like because of the video, there was room to make an example of him.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like without the video, he walks. With the video, it's like, all right, here you guys go. You got one.
But did they really? Is he being made an example out of? Because during the course of this trial, is it on the hearts and minds of the police in America? Because Dante Wright was shot, right? right in the middle of this trial, up the fucking block. You know what I'm saying? In the vicinity. So it's not like it's okay, maybe Texas cops aren't thinking about what's going on in Minnesota, but Minnesota cops should be thinking about what's going on in Minnesota. It's not even on your mind that maybe you shouldn't even take your gun out at a traffic stop. It's not even on you. It's not right here. That's my problem. It's not right here. You're not even thinking about what you might do, your consequences, and how it might be. None of that is a factor. So how much of an effect did this trial really have besides traumatizing us all over again? And that's where it stops. So I'm like all of the celebration, and I'm looking at Black people like, what the fuck you celebrating for?
Yeah, it was interesting. I was watching some local news here, and they have, people crying in the streets and dancing in the streets. Now, I get it. I as cynical as I can be, I do understand after the year that we had,
yes,
how the reaction could be, because the reason we were marching in the street was because of him.
Right.
So I get that, but I feel like we doing ourselves a bit of a disservice with not holding our trump card.
Right.
Like don't show it. We still got the leverage. Don't show that, because then you got people who think, no, not people that will think. I saw it yesterday. The Las Vegas Raiders Twitter account said, "I can breathe for 2021."
I know.
Like something has been rectified. Like, first of all, I was like, who's working at what 22-year-old?
Right.
22-year-old white girl is working that account, and who didn't approve that before it went out?
Right. I saw that in a few places.
I was like, get out of here. This is not that. This isn't a Supreme Court policy overturned. Or this isn't years of some type of vindication. This is a great victory.
Right.
But the dancing in the street thing, I was like, I don't know if this is it. I don't know if this is the one.
And I think our response needs to be measured, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be measured, and it needs to be calculated so that people understand that while we are pleased that the verdict is guilty, that's not enough. That's not going to pacify us. That won't keep us out of the streets. That will not keep us from boycotting your businesses. That is not going to be the thing. We need more. I need more than just wordplay from the president and the vice president. I need more than Speaker Pelosi mischaracterizing this entire event as if George Floyd signed up to sacrifice his life. Right? She did the whole. Did you hear that one?
Yeah, I did. What'd she say?
She went on there and thanked George Floyd for his sacrifice.
Oh no! Like that morning, he knew how it was going to play out that morning.
Right, exactly. That's right.
He was a freedom fighter. He was an activist.
I don't get it. Do not liken a murder victim to someone who willfully and understandably signs up with the notion that you might get killed, right? Military, police officers. That's a sacrifice because you volunteered. That's not what George Floyd did. He was a victim. Go martyr. Go somewhere else, but don't go. Thank you for your sacrifice.
All right, so to the professional stuff. What the three other officers? Now, when I saw them put the picture up, I was like, oh, they might find one of y'all in the basement of your house, because you know what's going to happen. It's no question anymore.
Right.
What are they looking at?
So they're looking at the same charges, right? And so because the charges are acting in concert and Chauvin was guilty, then they can go forward now with this prosecution that you were acting in concert with this individual and that you had the same mindset, you had the same agenda, same goal, same purpose, and the outcome was the same. And therefore you should face the same charges. They probably won't face the same charges because they were subordinate officers. They didn't have the same type of experience. And so they're going to say, we just was listening to what he said. In fact, they have plausible deniability. We told him to turn him over. We, in fact, told him, no, he don't have a pulse. We told him maybe we should turn him to the side, excited delirium. He didn't listen to us. What were we supposed to do? Right? So I think the prosecution should have used those officers. They would have not had to use the parade of use of force experts that they had, which could be part of why he might have a viable appeal, right? I don't think he got a fair trial.
Oh, wow.
I don't think he got a fair trial.
I know he looked genuinely surprised when that verdict was read. Like I thought y'all had said.
Y'all knew. I thought,
Yeah, what did you mean? He was like, I thought y'all said that. What is this?
I was surprised at the time frame in which the jury came back.
Yes, okay, that was the biggest surprise for me. Yeah.
And so my concern now is that jurors will start doing interviews that will upset the verdict.
Still, that can happen?
Oh yeah, they're free to talk to the press.
How would it upset the verdict?
Because if they start to say things like, well, there was a juror who told us, right, and injected something from outside into the jury room. There was a jury member who told us that there was a test. Remember that test that didn't come in at the end that the prosecution, maybe a juror watched the news and said, came in and injected that into the jury deliberations, because they weren't sequestered until deliberation.
Right.
Which they should have been sequestered from the gate. They weren't sequestered. So, and you cannot avoid the news, even if you don't watch the news, because the news comes through so many other mediums. You're on your phone, you could be texting somebody, you getting pinged with the news.
Now, to that point, can and will the Maxine Waters thing have an effect?
That I don't think will have an effect.
Okay.
That I don't think, because it wasn't as if they can establish that any juror was affected by what she said, right? So I don't think that that's going to fly. However, there was enough other things that were done, especially, the prosecutor coming in with late evidence, the prosecutor introducing what I call cumulative evidence. You are not supposed to have a witness come in to say the same thing over and over and over again. After a while, that becomes prejudicial. It becomes prejudicial. So that's a problem. That's a problem. And they did that with the use of force experts, and they did that with the medical experts. But notwithstanding, right, going forward on the sentencing, so we can talk about that, a lot of people have been hearing about these Blakely factors, right? Blakely factors are these factors that the court can consider in determining whether or not there should be some either upward departure on the sentencing, meaning there should be an enhancement, right? So in Minnesota, it's bifurcated, meaning that it's a two-step process. It's not like that here in New York. And so what Derek Chauvin has elected to do is he's elected for the judge to decide what those aggravating factors could be, as opposed to allowing a jury to decide, which makes me think, why would you let the jury decide guilt or innocence?
And then turn around and let the judge do it. That's not normal?
Not at all, not for cops.
Yeah.
Not look at Freddie Gray.
Yeah.
Right? Cops, what you want to do is go bench, because you know that the judges are pro-police.
Right.
All day. So why didn't you go bench?
And that was his choice?
It's his choice. Absolutely his choice.
Yeah, it was just some things that I just did not add up to me.
Yeah, it's not adding up to me either. It's like just too much, like it's contrived to pacify us.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I feel like, let's contrive this all to calm them down. Let's give them what they want. This is what they're asking for. They'll get that, and then they'll be quiet, and we can go back to doing the fuck shit we've been doing.
Yeah. Phew. All right, there it is. Any questions? 765. Let's go 1765. Before I let you go, let me see if I got anybody that wants to. And we're doing a phone or video only, ladies and gentlemen. Questions in the chat will not be asked unless you jump on the show. Attorney Ikie Speaks, New York criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, and all-around knowledge hound. Let me check the phones.
So somebody is asking, what if Chauvin testifies against the cops?
I'll let that fly. I'll allow it.
Yeah, they're not. That's not happening.
You don't think so?
No. Wow. Are they going to make him a deal? Because he's not coming unless he's like, yeah, you're going to have to take some of these years off these numbers. Why would he? What are they going to give him in exchange? And what is he going to then say? Yeah, I did it, and yeah, he did it too. What does
well, his chief threw him under the bus, so he could go with the whole training angle that you thought that they were going to go, and say, I was trained to do that move.
What is he going to get in exchange for his testimony for the prosecutor?
You're right.
He's already convicted, right? The deal making is over. The time for making deals is over. And because he was the most culpable, they should have made deals with the other cops and just flipped them and gave them immunity. Look, you come testify against this guy. That was the nail in the coffin. Why didn't you do that? That's why I don't trust any of it. I don't trust
yeah. I ain't even go to law school and I don't trust it.
Exactly.
It just, it's some other things that really stuck out to me, but that, those are rabbit hole YouTube things. But when y'all have some time, go back on YouTube and find some videos about the paramedics who also spoke on the trial.
I saw some of those.
I'm gonna find some videos and then come back and we'll talk about it. This is for everybody watching.
Yeah, I saw that.
All right, let me go to the phones. Let's go down to North Carolina. Welcome to the program. Let's go live. Hello.
Thank you. Look, I'm just wondering if the other cops are not charged, but brought to trial. Will they be able to say he told them to stand down? Because that's the way it seemed when I was watching it. They were told to stand down.
That's exactly their defense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, she's gonna answer. Thank you for your call.
But yeah, that's exactly what he's a superior officer to them, right? He's been on the job 20 plus years. They don't have that experience, and so he sort of took the lead. And even when they were suggesting to do something different with George Floyd, it was his call on how they were going to manage him. Ultimately, it was his call, and they sort of just went with the flow. So they really are going to be saying, we were under the supervision of a senior officer. We were doing what we were told to do.
So, could they get out of there with 18 months? Something slight, or just off at all the way.
They could walk all the way. I was doing my job.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because what else were they supposed to do in that moment?
Right.
What were their options as police officers, subordinate police officers, and they've got a supervisor there who's sort of directing and controlling how things are going? What were their options?
And now I think this posturing is not going to do much but inflame this attorney general opening up an investigation into the Minneapolis Police Department.
Yes.
And I think that was largely in part of the fact coming out about the way the report was written.
Right.
And
right.
So medical emergency caused the death of the person in custody, and we wouldn't even known that. So if we had no video, we wouldn't have known that he killed him. Yes. If we didn't have the trial about the video of him killing him, we would have known that that's how them bastards be writing reports.
Exactly. They get to control the narrative, always. They always get to control the narrative. And that's important because once you control the narrative, then you can direct the information and how it's released and how it's received.
Yeah. We got a couple more questions. Let's go to our New York Bureau Chief, John Watson. Welcome to the program.
Hey, what's happening?
What's good with you?
Hey, John.
Hey. Pleasure to finally meet you.
Likewise.
Couple things. One, there was talk, and I mean, I don't know how valid they'll use this as far as if they do try to appeal the decision, when they talk about things like what was said publicly, day of or day before the trial, and like try to scapegoat Maxine Waters into, she's trying to incite a whole situation. If they do appeal, what do you think the validity of that is, as far as them even trying to use either her or just public commentary as means of an appeal?
Well, so just the part about Maxine Waters only, that part alone won't be enough. But in conjunction with the rest of what's going on, it could be a viable option for appeal, right? Because all along, Nelson has been requesting that the jurors be sequestered. He has made application after application about how the media could affect jurors, and it's fallen on deaf ears. The fact that the judge at some point thought, you know what, we're going to sequester them for deliberations indicates that you knew that they needed to be sequestered in some form. You probably should have sequestered them this was the trial of the century. You needed to sequester them from the moment they were selected as jurors until they rendered their verdict and was discharged from their duties. So is that possible? Sure. Do you think the defense is going to be out there going to them jurors and trying to get affidavits about how they might have been affected by the media coverage and things of that nature? This is far from over. Why? 8 weeks is a long time. And in 8 weeks, what's happening in 8 weeks? The defense, they're reaching out to jurors. They're sending their investigators to jurors. They're trying to get affidavits about juror misconduct or some sort of influence to the jurors that should not have been there, or some sort of consideration of things that were taken into account in the jury room that didn't come through the evidence at trial. That's why we have 8 weeks. And I suspect at some point that Nelson is going to show up with a motion to vacate the verdict, right? That's typical, which is probably why he gave them 8 weeks, so that they could deal with that. But, you know, and maybe he knows he's going to deny that or whatever. But I expect to see that. I expect to see that.
Do you think this at all sets any kind of new precedents for any new cases that'll come up? Again, you know, you're going to have another case in Minnesota coming up soon, and any of these, you know, clearly wrongful killings and murders, you know, by police, that there's some sort of new bar set at all as far as, you know, cops being tried?
You know, the only new bar that is that we are on the precipice, hopefully, is this, you know, trying to dismantle qualified immunity, right? And so we're on the precipice of doing it here in New York. The city council has passed it, but de Blasio hasn't signed it yet. And so it's also on the legislative table on the federal level. That's I think the only fundamental change that might actually affect how police officers conduct themselves. Because if you then think that you could be liable to someone, you might think twice before you pull your gun, because you might lose your house. They're not concerned about losing their freedom, right? That's not the thing that's going to have them change their behavior. We've seen that. Nothing's changed, right? They've been video, the body cams, they're on video killing us. That's not even enough.
Got to be assets. It's got to be assets.
But if we can get your money, your kid doesn't have a college fund anymore.
Right.
You know, I got to lean on your house because you threw me up against a car. You know what I mean? Things like that might change. The DOJ starting an investigation into Minnesota. I'm sorry, Ohio, where the shooting just happened. They have the highest incident. That particular county has the highest incident of police shootings, police no shooting. Why are you not doing investigation there? Every police department in America needs to be investigated. They all need a consent decree. They all need to address how they use of force. They all need to be defunded when it comes to militarization. Did you not see the new NYPD with their new $20,000 robot dog?
Oh, geez. That's a whole nother conversation.
$5,000 for a robot dog.
Well, they go for 70. You can get a personal one.
Yeah, they could have got it for 70.
They got the personal kind. Yeah, but that one, I seen the movie and I know how it ends. I seen the movie. There's a couple of them out there, Terminator and iRobot. I seen it.
Rise Against the Machine. Yeah.
Right. So was this trial just you said trial of the century, which just brings me back to the previous trial of the century.
OJ.
And was this one just quicker? Because I felt like the OJ trial was like 5-6 months.
Yeah.
This one just faster because of the evidence that was, so blatant and, so forth. And it just, they was really trying a lot harder to convict OJ based on circumstantial stuff and what have you, as opposed to just visual evidence that they had.
No, I think the video obviously helps, right? Obviously. But then, you've got to look at the mechanisms too. This is a different trial. COVID is happening. We've got jurors who aren't really going anywhere. They're not leaving. They're staying in the building. They're confined to certain spaces. And this judge, he ran this trial like clockwork, right? There was no lulls in between. You finish this witness is on, call your next witness. Call your next witness. Call your next witness. And it really depends on how, judges are how they are. You've got some judges who are sticklers for time. They don't play. They want one witness after the next. there are other judges who are like, we need a break after every witness is alive. I'm overwhelmed, right? And so that's part of it. The sheer volume of the evidence is another thing, right? I think there was a lot more physical evidence in the OJ trial, right? For things that they had gathered. And then you have to understand, for evidence purposes, when you are gathering evidence, you need the person who found that evidence to come in and testify. Yes, I was there. I found it there. And when I gave, then you got chain of custody. I gave it to officer so-and-so. He lodged it over there. And so, the sheer volume of the evidence and the volume of the witnesses is part of why the OJ trial took so long. I had to look up how long the verdict took. Did y'all know it was only like 4 hours?
Yeah, it was 6 hours. It was 4 hours one day and 6 hours the next. 10 total. Which everybody on TV said it was unheard of.
Unheard of.
Unheard
and
of.
It was acquittal. So that was part of like when they came back and said verdict, I was like, well, that's guilty. That's guilty. That was too fast. And then it was like, well, OJ was fast. I was like, it was. I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that at all. But
now, how hard is it? So for a trial like this, where the trial itself takes place almost a year after the murder took place, like how realistic is it to actually sequester people who have no knowledge or have been affected little, emotionally, or just from what they've seen in the past 10 months, prior leading up to the trial? Like, how do you even weed somebody out like that?
So before you even consider whether or not you're going to sequester them, you have to make sure that they can be impartial, whether they've seen the video or not, right? Just having seen the video is not enough to make you disqualified as a juror. You had to have said that seeing the video has made me form opinions that keep me from being fair and impartial, right? Sequestering is not about what you saw before. Sequestering is about allowing the evidence to speak for innocence or guilt and not any outside influences during the course of the trial. And because this was so heavily covered, I mean, every day you got pundits on every TV talking about this witness and that witness and opining, not just talking about, but opining about whether or not the evidences should be believed or whether it was good. And you've got lay people, they don't know whether or not they should listen to these people or not. Jurors never listen to judges' instructions when they say, don't go on social media, don't talk to your friend, don't tell people that. They never listen to that.
Nor do they listen, like when they say, the judge says, disregard that last.
Disregard that.
Like, was just said, right? Yeah. You can't unhear it, right?
Yeah, you already heard it.
You can't. And so they should have been sequestered. There's no question about that. Whether or not that's enough for an appeal, that remains to be seen. It might.
All right, let me bring in let me see, Mr. G down the hall in studio. Mr. Clarkson down the hall in studio G. He's got a question. Another question.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, thanks again. I always jump in. We really appreciate you. Ben Crump, is he all we got or the best we got?
Ben Crump.
No shade.
No shade.
I'm just curious.
No shade. He is definitely not the best that we have by no stretch of the imagination. And I fear that the best of us, and I'm throwing myself in there, the best of us, we do the work behind the scenes. And we're doing the work on the ground. We're doing the work for your brother. We're doing the work for your father. We're not doing the global work. We're doing the impact work, right? In our neighborhoods, in our communities. And those are the people that I think are making the most impact. But people don't know about that. People don't know about those people, right? People don't know about, you only know about the Ben Crumps. And quite frankly, I don't know what quality of an attorney. I've never seen him in court. I've never seen him argue a motion. I've heard him speak. I haven't been overly impressed by his oratory skills.
How is he able to repeatedly secure the bag?
Oh, that's just there's a network. There's a network. It goes Sharpton, Rubenstein, Mike Hardy. That pipeline. There's a pipeline, right? Wherever you see Sharpton, you used to see Sandy Rubenstein. You don't see him no more, right? So they had a little falling out. So now you see Ben Crump. Right? You don't see. It used to be, right? I don't know if you guys remember that they were, Rubenstein and Galecki. Right? You had a case here. Who was going to get it? Al Sharpton was going to refer to them, and in my opinion, then when that's settled, I'm sure that the money was spread around, type
Because
of thing, right?
I see where he's been practicing law for 25 years, and I'm looking at the cases, and honestly, none of them sound familiar to me. So I'm wondering, is it my ignorance? And I can be ignorant, right? Is it my ignorance, or I've been paying attention enough, or is it just that he seems to be set up for special cases only?
No, I think what happened is he came in around
Trayvon Martin, right place, right time. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, but yeah.
Ever since then, he's been the go-to guy.
Yeah.
And it's because we don't have a lot of attorneys who are out in the forefront saying, this is where I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. So that he's the go-to guy.
Yeah.
Right? He's the go-to guy. To hear it from, told from Tamir Rice's mom, maybe he shouldn't be the go-to guy. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of pushback about different people who are in the movement who might be
capitalizing and making
right.
That's a whole nother discussion.
Exactly.
Last one, and I'm out of here, and I'll just ask this one. Jesse Jackson's face during the press conference, should I be scared, alarmed, or leave it alone?
I missed that.
So I understand that he has Parkinson's.
That's what I thought. That's
my understanding. And so, Parkinson's, sometimes you're not able to manage right. But I think for me, when I watched him, he seemed grief stricken.
Right. That's what I was wondering.
And for me, the Parkinson thing didn't come in. For me, I was like, this is a man who has been through, civil rights struggles and has witnessed the miscarriage of justice. And for him to be present, to witness what we perceive as justice in that moment, it was so much bigger than anything. And just watching him react to that, it broke me.
I just saw the picture.
It just looked like a lot of trauma just in at him at the same time. So I was like, what am I looking at? There's something that I didn't hear or whatever.
Yeah. But for me, it felt historic, right? The trauma he was. It like I said, I couldn't hold it. I was like, Jesse, damn, Jesse, come on. Yeah, he got me. Yeah, exactly.
But but stand by, Mr. Clarkson. Stand by. Don't go anywhere. Stand by. All right, Ikie Speaks. I appreciate you. I know you got to run.
Yeah.
Thank you for carving out some time. We appreciate your expertise. It's always a joy to have you on. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, family. Always a pleasure. Y'all be good. Stay safe.
All right. Ikie Speaks at Attorney Ikie Speaks on all of the social medias. Hey, we've had a couple attorneys on this show who like, and I've said it too in the conversations. I'm like, how come we don't see y'all? Kev Mency, Ikie Speaks. Like, what do we need to do here to propel y'all to that level? But like she said, behind the scenes and working on those cases that don't get the notoriety. All right, real quick, let me bring back in the crew. Let's see here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh.
Shit, wow, bro.
Yeah.
There was tough conversations with my students.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask too about that.
Tough conversations. Tough conversations.
Like, so their awareness, right? So I can remember being aware. I remember OJ was
94.
I was in college. We didn't go to class.
The trial was done in, I want to say 95, I think the verdict came out.
And I remember Rodney King. I remember all that. But right. Awareness, tell me about the awareness of your students and how it's impacting them.
So my students are very much afraid to be kids. And what I mean by that is like their rites of passages of like going to drive, learning how to drive. They're very afraid of those things because they don't want to be next. And that's all in their mind. They think about it. They like, even now, they're like, man, I'm just taking Uber forever. Like, that's really the mindset of a lot of my kids. And, I teach in DC where kids come from all different quadrants of the city to the school that I'm at. And they all have the same story. I'm not trying to drive, Mr. Clarkson. That's crazy that you was out here driving at 16, 17 years old. Like that's their mindset because of what they see consistently. And I've told you before, even with my son, it's a bit of a, a little bit of a hesitancy. He's gotten better now, but in the beginning, I ain't trying to drive.
All right. Let's bring in real quick. AQTIEPIE has been on standby, jumping on and off the call for a minute. Welcome to the program. Let's go live.
Hi, everybody.
I'm gonna highlight.
Hey.
I just wanted to bring some little femininity onto the podcast. That's all.
Well,
some more? You mean some more?
Yeah, wait a minute.
More?
Hold on. I got
the whole 30 minutes of femininity.
I gotta mute you. Hold on a second. Let me take you back out of the spotlight. First of all, this is not a podcast. This is a live show. Don't trip.
Live show.
Something like a podcast. And secondly, we had Ikie Speaks here
for a whole 30 minutes.
A whole 30 minutes. Being super feminine. And as feminine as you're muted. So don't worry about it. All right, so let's try this again. Welcome to the program.
I'll bring her back in.
Good to see you.
Hooray!
So what I meant was to this panel right now.
Okay.
I'm not.
All right, let me take you back out real quick. So a couple things. It's not a panel. It's not a panel.
It's not a panel. It's not a mantle. It's not a mantle.
Mantle.
You're a part of the show. So when you come in, just start saying what you wanted to say. We don't need the qualifiers. Okay. And welcome to the program. Good to see you.
Hi, everybody. No, I wanted to hear Mr. Clarkson. He's like my mentor. Go ahead, Mr. Clarkson. What did you do with your students?
No way. Honestly,
He already said that.
Go ahead, take it back out, Chance.
Yeah, I got to take it back out. I don't think that's what you came. You had something to say. You had something significant to say.
You got to fix this whole clip in post now because
we want to hear what you have to say. Okay, here we go. Mr. Clarkson said his piece. Welcome to the show. Let's go live.
Oh, am I unmuted?
Hooray!
We can hear you.
Yes.
No, so I wanted to say something today, but I don't know if y'all remember, I got in trouble for saying something about the insurrection at the Capitol. Mm-hmm. Like literally a parent emailed the superintendent on me. So I ended up emailing my principal yesterday and I said, okay, with the whole George Floyd thing, should I say anything? And she was like, Miss King, I trust you. Do what you got to do. And I was like, all right. But today I punked out. We didn't do anything. I punked out. We didn't do it. Yeah, I punked out. We didn't do anything.
Why though? Why?
I don't know.
Is it that one parent? You're afraid of that one parent?
No, I just didn't want no smoke. I punked out.
But your principal put the smoke in your hand and said,
yeah. She was like, do what you got to do. I trust you. I punked out.
That's unfortunate.
Well, there's always tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
You're right.
I
can do something tomorrow.
Or Friday. They're expecting light and just send them into the weekend with heartache and pain.
You're right.
You could do that.
You can also say this. I spared your feelings in a 24-hour grace because I didn't want a gunshot reaction. So now that you've had time to
can we use a better word than gunshot reaction?
I wanted you to have
knee jerk
reaction. Thank you. Sorry. Good grief. A have a knee jerk response.
I could tell him I could tell him I wanted to give them some time to let it sink in.
Let it sink in.
And also, I'm also big on adding this. I gave you time because I don't want you to say something that you think I want to hear.
Oh, nice. Wait a minute, where's that at?
Let me write this down.
That was a gem right there.
That's why I told you. That's my mentor right there.
Yeah. I'm also big on no explanations. Just do it.
Give you time.
Yeah, just do it.
And I can't listen to. Come on. Go ahead, Mr. Clarkson. Drop some more gems.
No, and this is so. I've had to learn that this generation is a lot different from us, and their processing of information, of trauma, is just not as fast. They need time to really put their words together. So I'm really big on, I need y'all to don't microwave me anything. Go home, cook it, bring it back to me and say, I thought about this with full intention of this is how it affected me. And this is what I plan to do moving forward. So that was one of the major conversations I had with them today, was that don't tell me don't sit up here and complain to me. Don't give me Family Feud answers. Give me well thought out visionary answers of how you plan on solving this major like issue that is like plagued us forever from your point of view, especially since you all are walking into voting age.
Can I? Oh, let me take you out.
Oh, take a temperature. Ooh, take a temperature real quick.
Yeah,
What
take it.
you talking about?
Yeah,
Ooh,
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me make it. Let her get herself together.
Can you check her temperature to make
Yeah,
sure?
can we
I
get
got
a
a thing here, but I don't know.
can we do an infrared scan on the computer?
Yeah.
We got that technology
Yeah.
in this place yet?
We did pay for that.
It's allergies. Thank you.
Okay, that's what they all say.
Oh no,
She
running
didn't
hot,
read.
man.
He
She's
didn't
running
read.
hot.
He didn't read.
Oh my goodness.
Allergies.
But yeah, we wish you well, and we hope that you are able to, be able to stand firm and be resilient and kind of get that lesson out there, because they need that. And I would go one further, Mr. Clarkson, that not only do they process different, I don't think they can make the distinction, because this age group, their entire existence is traumatic.
It's true. That's true.
And so that process and be like, oh, that's what happened. Oh, okay, and then on to the next. Like their sense of permanence and finality is way distorted. That's just my opinion from the ones that I deal with.
It's the post September 11th group. It's everybody that was born after that. Their sense of trauma and what they see and oh yeah, that was a movie. They see United 93. Oh yeah, that was a movie. I'm like, no, we lived that. That was real.
And also for us who were adult age, 9/11, everything came to a screeching halt. It was the worst thing ever, and everything changed. If you were born after that, everything was the worst thing ever.
Right. And you saw it.
You saw it. This was the worst thing. And then next week, oh, this is 10 times worse than that. And then we got that. This is 1,000,000 times worse than that. You getting that for every experience, and it kind of desensitizes you.
And the difference between us is that, I mean, we at best read it in the newspaper, or we might have seen a news report from the scene, but after the fact. These kids is getting this stuff in real time. They getting live and direct footage, man, that any adult in their right mental capacity wouldn't be prepared to handle. Seeing somebody lose their life, like for real, like not like not for play, for real. You're watching it and you're seeing it on a fairly regular basis at this point. That's
yeah. Even with the story, even with the story out of Ohio, which I'm not prepared to talk about today, but I'm just referencing it. Even with that video, first of all, that video was released fast as shit. Secondly, the way it's being reposted and retweeted, unbelievable. I can't, as soon as I see the warning, my stomach turns.
Yeah.
I can't even.
I don't make it past the warning.
I can't get past the warning either. I can't do it.
But there's certain, segments of people who really like, it does not affect them.
That's clickbait to them. They're like, oh, warning. Oh,
doesn't bother them.
And it's funny because I lectured on this about a year ago, that the reason why this culture of these videos coming out so quickly is because we're trying to rectify the wrong of Mammy Louise Till. That when Mammy Till brought Emmett Till to the world and said, see, this does exist, there was no response. So now the burden of proof is on Black America to bring it quicker, faster, different angles. We damn near have to have the production of like your favorite blockbuster for it to resonate or to get a guilty verdict. When I think about just the trauma of watching Floyd, right? It's shot in such a way that it had to be undeniable. So it's like even now, it has to be shot or seen or
it was a still hand. I know what you mean. It was a very still hand. It was very like, it wasn't frantically filmed. It was very like, we're gonna get this whole footage because I know we're going to need this.
Right.
And the wherewithal to do that. You know what I'm saying?
From a teenager.
From a teenager.
I used it from the argument of I said, Rodney King happened on my birthday. That's March 3rd. So there's Rodney King, and then I used or I showed the Tamir Rice video.
Which was
And I
dope.
said that, see, we've had to get better, unfortunately, with technology to continue to prove to the world that this stuff actually happens. And that's the conflict, and that's the trauma.
Well, for me again, I gotta go in a different direction. One thing is proof, but the other thing is desensitization. I think it's done deliberately because the more you see it, and you're not the only one watching it, the more it's seen, the more normal it becomes. You do not see white people getting slaughtered on video in the street because
Right.
if you did, you would be used to it. If you were used to it, then it wouldn't be a problem. So I think that you got to look at that. The reason why we see it so much is to normalize it, to get you used to it, so that acceptance sets in, and then it's not a problem.
So
Like,
in
And
the
I
flip,
thought that was
but in
going
the
to be an
flip,
issue. I'm sorry, John. I thought that was going to be an issue in the court because what did they say? They counted how many times the jury saw that particular film, and I was like, they're going to get so desensitized that it's not going to make a difference. That's what I thought. I was like, oh God, if they keep showing it over and over, and they said it was like 43 or some hours worth of video they showed in the 2 weeks.
and that's partly why I don't think the whole police issue is going to be effective with reform, because it's a cultural problem. You're dealing with individuals, some, not all, who already don't see you as human. So it's like putting down a dog or a horse or a wild rabid raccoon or possum in their eyes. And so that's different than training. You know, when you already have an inherent bias and you already have dehumanized and you're already desensitized, because, and psychologists will tell you, Dick Gregory will tell you, you see it enough, you start to think that that's what Black people are supposed to do.
Yes.
They're supposed to be killed.
Yep.
And so that's what video is, a double-edged sword. Yeah, it's proof, but at the same time, the way it flies around social media and the social media platforms ain't shit either, because I swear, you see something happen to somebody else and that don't get flagged and taken down, and this goes against, and this this goes against our community, blah 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 blah. But every morning, here's the latest footage of a young Black person getting killed off in the street. All right, let me
but
go.
in the adverse, real quick, can't one also argue that as much as it can desensitize a lot, it's also the awareness factor to those who were blind to it in the first place.
Sure, that's why I said
increases tenfold. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, for example, I mean, none of this was getting filmed up until recent years, but we all sitting here knew this shit was going off for forever. You know what I'm saying? But for all those people who didn't, and that have the ability to have emotion, you know what I'm saying, are seeing it like, yo, this shit is not a one-off.
Yeah,
it's not a rare occurrence. It's not a every couple of years thing. It's happening like on a monthly basis, damn near at this point. So there's got to be that level of, you know what I'm saying, and hopefully, or eventually, the right people will keep on seeing this and keep on getting affected in the way that is more beneficial to us than our detriment. You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's go to the phones real quick. Welcome to the program. Let's go live. Let's go live.
Hello, hi, everybody. How are you? This is one.
It's Disha One, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey. Hi.
Hey.
Hey, I just wanted to piggyback off what you said, Lamont, about it, like them playing this trauma porn to desensitize us. It feels like it's a play on the plantation. Not only is it there to desensitize us, but to reinforce that if you do not comply, nothing will happen. So you might as well comply. You might as well do what we say. So that's all I want to say.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for calling. Thank you for jumping on. I could see that.
Yeah, like I was listening to a radio program today, and there was an attorney who has been on both sides of the aisle, and made a quick reference to the video that you said that came out so quickly, the one that happened with the young lady yesterday. And he was like, from a legal standpoint, he said, I could see why they put the video out so quickly. He said because, and I haven't seen the video.
It was in the right. So it looked like they was in the right.
Yeah, because he was like, I'm just going to tell you what they're going to say is they rolled up on a scene, and without being able to identify who's who, saw you know, a young person with a weapon going after another person, and that's who they decide to take down. And they're gonna, you know, their argument will be, if I'm rolling up on a scene and everything's hectic, and all I see is the one person with a weapon actively using it, you know, what am I trained to do? That's gonna be the argument.
And sure, and that's
the argument.
No, that's an easy argument because it's police work. However, the counter will be a discretionary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying, but that's going to be what they're going to go in with.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, they're not going to hold it like they held my man's video for in a military uniform for 2 months because they was like, well, how do we work this? You know what I mean? Like
Chicago with Laquan McDonald, they'll do it a year and a half, and
right.
And what's the name about to be out of there? Lori Lightfoot. She was in the last situation with the Toledo kid. She was like, we're still, the investigation is ongoing. We're still the facts of this and that, this. Like you say that, and we don't believe you because, like we saw with this one, like you just let it out. You just let it out because you know you're in the right, or you presume that you're in the right. You just let it out. But other ones, 6-7 months to further investigate. What are you watching different angles? Y'all having watch parties? Or y'all editing?
Right.
Right.
But it kind of goes back to what I said earlier, is that only in America with people with black folks do we have to produce this video evidence at such a high quality to even get an inkling of concern that belief that this something wrong may have happened, and that's going to haunt us forever. And you're right, it's because of where black people in America are not viewed as human. Until that changes, but then again, rooted in where does a police force come from? You know, its origins and everything else. Right. So it's like when you have protect and serve on cars and it's in quotes, do I really believe you?
That's funny. It is in quotes. Almost, they should just draw some hands on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Protect and serve. Well,
if anybody saw the original report that Chauvin turned in, it has nothing, like it's so, you know, did you see it, Mr. Clarkson? Yeah, it's just so so nonchalant. Yes, this happened, and then he had a medical emergency. Has nothing about him being on his neck for 9 minutes.
And that's part of training. And what they should do on some wild left field, they should make your assisting officer write the report. Because who lying for somebody else on that scale?
True.
Oh yeah.
They should throw all types. They should throw all types of twists and turns. And if you want to do reform, you got to get creative. There got to be some tricks in there and some hiccups and some glitches. Like she said, make you think twice about pulling that weight. Like it'll be a whole section in there on if you mistakenly grab your taser and instead of your gun.
Yeah.
Like when you get to jail, man, they just get to mistakenly take turns with your ass. Like it's got to be something in there that's so wild and reckless.
See, that's why they should start making them, like, you know, like they said, have monetary accountability. They should have to have insurance. If you're gonna be on a job, you're supposed to have insurance. You gotta have insurance.
I know I carry insurance for my job.
Yeah.
Right. You know, medical professionals carry insurance in case they malpractice or you know something goes wrong.
Doctors.
Why shouldn't they have? And every time you fuck up, your premium goes up until you can't get covered anymore.
You paying on that gun. You paying on like in a car. You got to pay. What's the joint when you cause damage to somebody else's car? What's that? Liability.
Liability insurance.
Collision. You got to have full coverage, officer.
Right.
My push is going to be this. I think that all police cars should have at least 6 working cameras on it. And you cannot turn your car over unless all cameras work. When you are talking to a potential person that is underneath arrest, they must be in the camera view of one of the cameras before everything goes down.
That's awesome. That is amazing.
If you don't put them in the assigned area, automatically you lose all accountability.
It's kind of like how some jurisdictions have mandatory body camera turn on, and they just turn them the fuck off.
Right.
They literally
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like
magically the camera got turned off. Well, I forgot to turn it off. So I got the car.
And they literally just turn them off.
Yeah.
I think the punishment should be with that is that As soon as you turn your camera off, I'm going to believe whoever is on the other side of the camera. Period.
That would be.
I mean, they should. First of all, they shouldn't have the ability to turn them off.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's like if I want
that
house
should be
arrest,
part of the
like at the
reform.
server. It should be at headquarters.
If I want house arrest, I shouldn't just be able to turn the ankle bracelet off because I want to go to 7-Eleven real quick.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Like it don't just be on.
Oh, good one. I like that. Hold
That
on.
should be part of the reform.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, thank you.
I like
Wrong bell.
Yeah, hey, man. I don't have these shits labeled. All right. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate y'all for jumping on. John Watson, All Fun and Games. We'll see him Friday. Mr. Clarkson down the hall, Studio G, our executive producer. Good to see you. And a cutie pie from the Peanut Gallery. I appreciate you jumping on the show. We're almost out of time. We got to save some room for Roland Martin. I want to go into this real quick. Leave on something fun. I got to do something fun. I wanted to bring back, even though it ain't Thursday, bring this back real quick. The return of Dr. Gerard Milliken, highly requested assistant life coach. Said he doesn't want to be a head coach, your head life coach. He'll just be an assistant because it's too much responsibility. So he's finally returned, ladies and gentlemen. So let's play the original first.
Everything in life is a negotiation.
All right. We don't pay. I don't know none of y'all. Y'all not advertising. All right, here we go.
I'm Gerard Milliken, assistant life coach. And people ask me all the time, well, what is an assistant life coach? Well, you have your head coach and you have your assistant coach. I'm an assistant life coach, so I assist you with your life. I'm not interested in being your head coach. You have to realize, so in this world, there are winners and then there are everyone else. So most of the time, you're probably going to fall in the everyone else category. You were taught to think of it as a loser, but the way my training is set up, we teach you to think of yourself as not a winner. There's a difference between losing and not winning. So if you get my training video, you'll get a chance to see me break down the fact that everyone doesn't necessarily have potential. One thing you guys have to remember about potential is not everybody has it. Everyone does not get a trophy. I tell you, like I tell some of my clients, there's nothing wrong with second place. Don't focus so much on first place, because second place is actually first runner-up. You know, you hear every day, don't throw in the towel, and you were almost there, and don't give up, and put in a good fight, and don't quit. Who came up with that? That doesn't make any sense. If you're out of your league, you're out of your league. Sometimes it's okay to quit. Quitting is acceptable. First, you got to question everything. Second, you got to look for understanding. Third, you have to investigate. And finally, if you're out of your league, tap the fuck out. That's the beautiful thing about the power of positive thinking. You could think positively and shit still goes wrong. Well, specifically to that question, you got to look at chapter 3 of my book. It's on failure. And it talks about, accepting yourself for being the failure that you are. I mean, you probably came from a long line of failures. Your father was a failure, your mother, your grandparents, they both were failures. This is not true. Some people are just not born to make anything of themselves. So why break the cycle? Continue on that path and you'll see things fall into place and life will be much easier once you accept that.
Why aren't you the landlord? Yes, you. Why aren't you?
That's funny, a real one.
Every day you go to
and then a real one came on. That's hilarious. All right, so that being said, he's returned after a short hiatus, and he has a new series called Self-Care for Dummies on Instagram. Speaking harsh truths, and he was big before Kevin Samuels. So glad he's back. All right, so tell me one more time why you won't take off a week. Because you behind on work and you got deadlines to meet next week. All right, do this. Take a week off. I bet you when you come back, a little funky ass job and a little piece of work you got to do, still gonna be there. Bet you that. Welcome back, Gerard Milligan. I look forward to seeing more from him. Hey, look here, guys. That's the end of the show. I appreciate y'all for sticking around. And Roland Martin, I appreciate you for being patient. But unfortunately, we gotta shut this down. Maybe we'll get you on the next program, The Money Wheel, this Friday. I believe it's around 1:15. Don't quote me. I gotta go to the thing. We don't have the time, but it's about 1:15. But please, we gotta get these numbers up. I'm trying to put some money in your pocket, 50-50. Let's see where's the thing is. $5 slots. Let's go live show. Cash App. View support. Half the money goes to production cost of the show. The other half goes to you. You can do what you want. Must be present to win. Friday is always a good time. John Watson returns. All fun and games. And that's pretty much it, man. Make sure you hit the like and thumbs up and turn the notifications on. Let's have a good time. Y'all be safe. Enjoy yourself. Thanks on behalf of our guests and everybody who made the show possible and called in and all of that. Ikie Speaks, Mr. Clarkson, AQTIEPIE, Esdisha, and John Watson. We'll see y'all next time. And yeah, that's about it.
I don't care if it is a closet. You still looking mad official.